Got some noises coming from the front end. It's the wheel bearings. So we're going to replace wheel bearings on this MK6 Golf GTI. There's lots of videos on YouTube on how to do it, but they seem very inefficient to me. So I'm going to show you the most efficient way of doing the wheel bearings. Step one is to remove the wheel nut caps. Step two is to very carefully remove the center cap. We don't want to damage anything, but it is possible to get that out. Now we have the axle bolt exposed. 24mm 12-point socket on a long breaker bar. In gear and handbrake on, we can crack that bolt off. Now I'm doing both wheel bearings, so we do the same to the other side. Then we can crack the wheel bolts before we've even lifted the car off the ground. Use your lock nut key for the lock nut. Now we can go ahead and jack up the car. If you want to see how I built these interconnected air jacks, check out the link. You can go ahead and remove the wheels. So that I just moved the drive shaft in by pushing it. It's nice and loose because I've put some molybdenum grease on there, so it's not stuck. And we're going to swing the wheel around so we can get to the caliper bolts. Caliper bolts are 21mm. Pretty new pads, so there's no lip here to worry about. Now we'll tie this up out of the way. Now we got pretty good access to the back here. I believe these are 12mm triple squares. Let's check those. Okay, those triple squares are too tight for a 10mm spanner. Just bent this up. So I think we are going to have to move the drive shaft out further so I can get a more sturdy tool onto that, because right now the CV joint is in the way. T30. To be honest, there's not much threads coming through that hold that wheel bearing on. So they're not going to be dirty, especially here in Australia. But this one does. So yeah, so the bottom two do have a bit of thread coming out. The top don't. But we'll try and add a little bit of assistance. That doesn't need to come off, but it might just make things a bit easier. We are going to have to drop the control arm out of the way. These are 16mm. So what that's going to allow us to do is exactly that, just to get the drive shaft out of the way so that I can get onto these bolts here. And a long breaker bar, no problem. Gonna need a little extension there. Okay, that's 2 out of 4. May as well pop them all the way out. No reason why not. They're the same length, but you can see the bottom ones come through further. No need to swing that around the other way. We can access it from here. I just felt the hub move as well. So that's it. It's that easy. Let's just give this a nice little clean up while we're here. Just be careful of your wheel speed sensor there too for the ABS. Should be okay to leave it there, but yeah, just be careful of that. I think that's good enough. I'm using genuine SKF wheel bearing kits. There's a part number. It's great because they come with the axle bolts and also the 4 bolts to hold the hub in, which is pretty cool. Also, it's always a good idea just to compare your old and your new to make sure everything looks okay. And it does. It looks great. Especially check your offsets. Make sure they look right as well. And everything looks good here. Interesting to note too, the wheel speed sensor is here, and there's no like tone ring or anything that actually picks up on, which is super interesting. I wonder if it's actually picking up the balls behind the cover here. But yeah, I thought that's pretty cool, interesting. Now, as you can see, rust was not an issue here in Australia. I know in other parts of the world it is. I'm just going to add just this, it's just a little bit of a thicker anti-corrosion protection. I'm just going to spray that on like that. That's all, that'll be fine. So these are 70 Newton meters plus 90 degrees. We're going for plus 90 degrees. Try to do them diagonally. Okay, now we want to carefully check this surface, make sure it's nice and clean, because that has got to do with your bearing preload once you tighten up that bolt as well. Okay, so just again, just a little bit of lube on here. And we can straighten this knuckle out and put it back on. There we go. And now the lower control arm can go back on. Better not forget the shield. Lower wishbone, 40 Newton meters plus 45 degrees. We've got everything torqued up, so we can do final clean on here. Put the disc back on. And the little set screw. And I might as well tighten this up while we're here. And we can grab those caliper bolts. $200 Newton meters. I got nothing that goes that big. So we'll just do these as tight as I can. This is 120 foot-pounds. Wheel can go back on. So if you ask me, that's pretty straightforward. That's the right side done. Now I've got to do the left side. What I thought I'll do is I'll put a time lapse on and see how quick I can do it. Well, that's job done. Just got to drop the car on the ground now, and then we tighten up the main bolt for the axle. So this is 70 Newton meters plus 90 degrees. And now we got to go 90 degrees. And the same on the other side. Now we can put the cap on and tighten up the wheel nuts. And we're done, ready for a test drive. Wheel bearing noises can be a bit hard to detect exactly where they're coming from. We suspected that it was coming from the front left. So this is the bearing from the front left. It's certainly still nice and tight, but it had a whirring sound that we could hear. Now this is the front right. Sounds exactly the same. You can't really do this with a brand new one because of all the grease. If they're kind of a bit too tight, they don't really rotate very well. So it's hard to tell, but the test drive will be the confirmation. So there you go. Pretty quick and easy job in reality. I don't think that's really difficult. I think the biggest issue that I had with the videos that I watched online and on YouTube was they're raising the vehicle, they're taking the wheels off, they're loosening, they're dropping it down, they're lifting it up. There's no need to do all of that. Think about your process, do things once. And yeah, that was how I thought was the most efficient way of doing it. And it was super easy and quick. There you go. Hope you learned something. Thanks for watching.